Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and in this video, we are going to be going over Maxroll discontinuing their Diablo Immortal branch. As somebody who is kind of the project leader for an operation kind of similar to what Maxroll is doing over there with their website and their organization, I thought it would be interesting to go through and read their statement and give you my reaction to it and how I feel kind of compared to them. And I've also worked with a couple of them, talked with a few of them, Echo Hack. Most notably, I've spent a lot of time chatting with behind the scenes and done collabs with. So just going to give you my context and reaction to this announcement coming from Maxroll about discontinuing Diablo Immortal. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so first of all, a couple things. I have not read this yet. Obviously, I've seen the commotion in the community talking about this happening, but I haven't actually read their official words yet. So it's going to be my genuine reaction to what they're saying here. And also, my interactions. I've known a few of the guys over at Maxroll for a while now. Woody Joe, I know from the Diablo 3 days, and he's an absolute beast of a player. Was always one of the top demon hunters and a great content creator as well. Some of the other guys I don't know on like a personal level, but they all seem really knowledgeable and really good at gaming in general and are a huge asset to the Diablo community. And Echo Hack is somebody that I would go to bat for if he ever needs me, because Echo Hack was super cool, not only to me, but my other teammates and all the people that I work with on different projects we're doing. Even off camera, behind the scenes, Echo Hack was always like, hey, let me know if you ever have any questions, or if you ever want to chat, you ever want to collab, I'll come on your stream for 3 hours as long as you need me. So Echo Hack was always an extremely stand-up guy to me and a really good representation of everybody over there at Maxroll. So we're going to go into this and read the official statement now, but just wanted to lay the groundwork that my overall sentiment of everybody over there at Maxroll is very positive. So as we get started here, we've got the Maxroll team covers games we are passionate about. We had high hopes for Blizzard's Diablo Immortal release, since it could reignite a new audience and generation of gamers to a franchise we love. For 2 years, our team, along with the community, thoroughly tested the tech alpha, closed alpha, and closed beta, concluding that the core game could be molded into something great. We provided a plethora of feedback during these testing phases to help the Diablo Immortal team to help Diablo Immortal be the best game it could possibly be. However, with heavy hearts, today we're announcing the closure of Maxroll's Diablo Immortal branch. Then we've got the timeline. Should I... the decision, how long is this? Okay, I can probably go over all of this, and I want to provide full context and not put words into people's mouth or anything. So, okay, BlizzCon, Blizzard announced Diablo Immortal, receiving an overwhelmingly negative response from the community. Maxwell could have easily dismissed Immortal from the beginning. However, small glimpses of the game showed promise, so we made preliminary coverage plans. Technical Alpha, the Technical Alpha gave us a first real glimpse of the game. We were able to see the combat system, dungeons, challenge rifts, and other basic features. The game felt better than we expected, and our hopes started to rise. This is when we first launched the Maxroll branch and closed alpha. Our team dominated the closed alpha of Diablo Immortal. Rax, Rob, Echo, Facefoot, okay, teamed up together. Paragon 150 and power levels surprised everybody, including the developers. During testing, we discovered issues with the game. Crusaders were too powerful. PvP was a one-shot fest. Leveling was gated. Certain levels and systems and events didn't function properly, and activity rewards varied widely. We spent over 1,000 hours providing dozens of pages of written feedback, in-depth spreadsheets, and more advanced Immortals development. Oh, and more to advance. Okay, sorry. Despite the game's flaws, this was the best version of Immortal we had seen to date. There were no caps, no shop, no pay-to-win elements, and the game truly rewarded playing to power up. Our articles received a gigantic rework as we became a top source for Diablo Immortal information. We also picked up 4 team members along the way, adding Alexiu, Dreadscythe, Echo Hack, and Greg2G to the lineup. There are thoughts circulating within the community that our min-maxing performances in the closed alpha were used to or cap free-to-play capabilities. While we are unsure of the true use of this data as testers, players, and dedicated members of the franchise, we were always going to try our best. Closed beta. Immortal's closed beta launched with mixed feelings. While some feedback have been fixed, other issues from the previous 2 testing phases remained. We grew concerned. As we expected, the 7 additional months of development between closed alpha and closed beta to resolve most of the major problems. Then monetization testing began as the in-game shop was introduced. There were early warning signs of how predatory the game could become. There was unlimited spending, legendary gems, provided combat rating when they didn't in the closed alpha, and resonance was far too strong and completely paywalled, making matters worse. The free-to-play experience was awful due to the outrageous crafting cost, the scarcity of legendary crests, and the lack of upgrade paths in the game. All things considered, the closed beta felt pound for pound worse than the closed alpha. Still, we put hundreds of additional hours to give feedback to developers and community alike, and updated our guides to be ready for launch. Okay, so some of that's like the backstory stuff, and now we're getting to the release of the game and how they kind of felt about that. So Diablo Immortal released on both mobile and PC beta. Our worst fears were realized. Many of the key issues were not fixed, and the free-to-play experience is worse than we could have ever imagined. The shop allows players to acquire infinite resonance and combat rating, and a new 5-star legendary gem bundles outright sell them directly. Newly introduced Paragon caps on upgrading gear and hidden caps on practically all looted items deflated the incentive to play the game, while nothing to grind beyond a few faction dailies. Players lost interest quickly. We knew all along the game would be pay to win, and leading a cherished franchise into mobile market would certainly bring new challenges for both the developers and the community. Despite these concerns, we planned to prevail and make the most of what we could, what we thought was a good core game with plenty of potential. With how the release turned out, we couldn't have been more disappointed. It's never easy to walk away from something you've put a lot of time into. However, we feel responsible for the games we choose to support and the types of games we want to see made. Most importantly, Maxroll exists to provide a service to our community members, and we consider it our duty to be good caretakers for them. As such, we cannot in good faith cover this game. Then we've got the decision and closing and all that, and then I'll kind of give you my thoughts here in a couple minutes. So we've got the decision, like LeBron James going to South Beach here. So canceling a game we've cumulatively put 10,000 hours of work and tons of developer money into is not something we do lightly. In fact, we've never discontinued a game before. Unfortunately, recent events highlighted below drove that decision. So economic structure. This is by far the biggest reason we're discontinuing the Diablo Immortal branch. The predatory pay-to-win system greatly exceeds what's considered to be the norm for mobile gaming. That's debatable. Gambling addictions are real and can completely destroy lives. Even if 99% of the players have perfect impulse control, we still can't stomach what happens to the other 1%. This is completely against our values and will not remain a part of this any longer. I agree with the sentiment, but I would probably push back a little bit on that one paragraph, but we'll get to that. Disengagement and community response. The disappointment we felt at launch aligns with the communities, not just from a pay-to-win perspective, but about the game itself. While we are not game designers, we can't believe this is the state of the game after nearly 2 years of testing and feedback. Unrewarding gameplays. From Hell 1 difficulty to Hell 2 and beyond, your progression comes to a screeching halt. You can either grind 8+ hours a day, despite the multitude of hidden caps for 5, 10, 15 combat rating upgrades, or break down and go to the shop and get a lot more. It's a terrible feeling that extinguishes the motivation to log in. Money isn't everything. Even with a poor reception, our Immortal branch would continue to generate revenue from our end. Life is more about money, though. It's about doing the right thing. As said throughout this post, we are sticking to our core values. We are walking away from 1.5 years of collective work, time, mixed events, and family obligations, developing time and expense of cost to do the right thing by us and you. Lack of remedy. Finally, as a team, we discussed what would it take for us to reopen the Diablo Immortal branch, aside from severely limiting the infinite pay-to-win system and giving free-to-play players a real chance. We didn't see a path forward for us. This is why we chose to shut down the branch prior to the first major update. We don't envision Blizzard implementing a remedy strong enough to truly bridge the gap. Our community matters more than anything else, so we're keeping all the guides live on the site for a short period of time. No further updates will be made. This will and even copy information. Okay, fully believes in the immense amount of work to decision take down Immortal was made together. We aren't canceling this because the quality is lacking or the lack of resources. We love our creators. Want to thank them. Okay, cool. So it looks like we got the gist of the sentiment here. And honestly, I agree with like 99% of this, and I respect their decision, and I think a lot of this makes sense. The one thing I'm a little bit confused on is like the completely against our values part, only because Lost Ark is insanely pay to win, and they cover Lost Ark. So you know, it's it's not like we just see Diablo 2 and Diablo 3 and Diablo Immortal, and then Diablo Immortal is some wild horse that's completely different than all the others. I mean, you already have an insanely pay-to-win game in Lost Ark, so I guess I would ask them, what's the difference? I'd be curious, like if I did a collab, I would be like, you know, why is Lost Ark a pay-to-win model that's okay in your eyes, and Diablo Immortal is a pay-to-win model that's not okay in your eyes? I think that would be a fun discussion to get their opinion on. But as far as everything else in here, you know, unfortunately, I agree. Obviously, they know a lot about the game, and they've got thousands of hours in it, and they're right. You do kind of hit a point where even if you are a spender, it gets exponentially less and less effective. Like to get the same benefit of your first $1,000, you have to spend like $3,000 on top of that, and then to get the benefit of that $3,000, you have to spend like $25,000. Then to get the benefit of that $25,000, you have to spend like $100,000. So it just like exponentially ramps up, and it's definitely a system that I am against and not for. And I've done countless videos at this point and conversations talking about that. So I definitely agree with them on like we need a restructure to the game. I'm holding out cautious optimism that we will see something like that, because I don't see Blizzard, you know, taking a game this popular and a game with this much revenue and a game that they put this many years and this much resources into developing. I don't see them just sitting on their hands and doing nothing. I could be wrong, and I'll be the first one to do a video and be like, wow, I was wrong. But I see them making some change. Now they're saying they don't see a change big enough to bridge the gap between their disappointment and things changing to a point where free-to-play players and the more like Diablo grinder type player would come into play and bridge that gap to make it a fun game for all. And then the second point I want to make is, like, if I'm just being honest, just my candid, you know, opinion, when I first kind of saw, you know, some of these statements about how, you know, they're quitting because it's against their morals, the first thought that popped in my head was that, you know, the guys at Maxroll, after putting in thousands of hours into the beta, they were the conductors of the worldwide hype train, and they knew how all these systems worked in game. They knew how the resonance and the legendary gems and how the pay to win elements were. They knew all that stuff better than anybody else, and they had no problem with covering it back then. But what they're saying here is, it got worse. What they're saying, you know, from their perspective is that, you know, from the alpha to the beta to the live version, it progressively got worse, and it got worse to a point where they finally threw up their hands and said, okay, we knew it was going to be pay to win, but we didn't know it was going to be this bad. Now, they can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's kind of the sentiment I'm getting. So I understand that. That's fair. I can respect that perspective. You know, sometimes when you're playing the beta, you don't see the actual packs. You don't see, you don't have 100% of the information of what the game is going to be on launch. And now that they've had a chance to see that, they're realizing, like, okay, the pay to win in this game is a little bit too ridiculous, so we're going to move on. So, okay, you know, I'm glad I read through this, and now I understand some of the context behind their decision a lot more than just kind of reading a headline and seeing it on Reddit or whatever. So, you know, very well written and very well articulated. I think they make a lot of sense, and most everything they said here, I agree with. We're not going to shut down our operations at Aftershock when it comes to Diablo Immortal, because I'm like I said, I'm still cautiously optimistic that Blizzard isn't going to just do nothing. You know, I want to give this some time and see what is going to be coming, and see what Battle Pass 2 is going to be, and see what the first big content update is. But we're going to keep an eye on the situation, and we're going to keep grinding as best we can, and hopefully, you know, keep progressing and be able to get through some of these issues that they talked about, like the combat rating system. I don't really like the monetization. I definitely don't like the resonance. How a big gripe that I agree with is the lack of an avenue for the grinders, for the people that are active in the community and the free-to-play players. You know, it wouldn't be so bad. Like the whale elements wouldn't be so bad if you could like farm the gem powder, or if you know the rare crests were better in terms of having a chance to actually get something, or if they were a little bit more giving of legendary crests by doing dailies and rewarding you for grinding. Like, there's simple things they could put into the game that would still provide a benefit to whales. They would progress a lot faster, but at least give the active people in the community an opportunity to fight, like something to grind for, a reason to play. So I agree with their overall sentiment, and I support the guys over there at Maxroll, and they are always welcome to come on the channel. And massive shout out to all those guys like Echo Hack that were super cool and helped me and a lot of the people that I team up with during the whole beta process. So let me know your thoughts down below, and it's it's always fun to read through the comment section and get some context as to how you're feeling about things as well. So that'll do it for me on this one. As always, thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.